Keybiscaynestories collects the history of our beautiful island. This is your host, Alejandro Cervali, and I am a certified Key Rat for many, many years and counting. With this podcast, we will share the stories of our residents and their love for this slice of paradise we call home. So stay tuned, relax, and enjoy these great Key Biscayne stories. Key Biscayneers, fellow Key Rats, welcome to another episode of Keybiscaynestories. Today I bring you a beautiful couple. We have James and Francine McCaughan, owners of Code of Life, a Pilates and bar studio in the Key. We will get to know them, they will tell us how they met, why they love the Key, and we will dive into Code of Life. Did you know there was a proposal for a reality show called The Key? Francine will tell us all about it, so join us for this week's Key Biscayne Stories. Please support this podcast by subscribing and signing up to our newsletter. Information in the show notes. Guys, welcome on the show. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having us. We're so happy to be here.
Thanks for having us, Alejandro.
How are you guys doing?
Good. It's been a busy work day and work week, but we're so fortunate to live on the Key, let me tell you.
Yeah, that sums it up for me too. I've been pretty busy, but it's better than not having any work. I know a lot of people are having tough times right now, so we do try to appreciate the blessings that we are experiencing right now.
That's right. Considering the circumstances, we're lucky to have jobs and things going on in our day-to-day. So let's dive right in. Let's get to know you guys. So where are you guys from originally?
I'm from Augusta, Georgia.
And I'm actually a native Key Rat. I'm from here on Key Biscayne. Lived here for the first 18 years of my life and went to a few different places for school and work and moved back here about 2.5 years ago.
Nice. How did you guys meet?
We met on Tinder, but I put that I only wanted to meet anybody just 1 mile radius of me. And I was living in Island House at the time, so that meant that they had to be someone on Key Biscayne.
And lucky for me, I should say, I was visiting my parents fairly frequently, getting dinners with them on the weekend, that type of thing. And one of those times I happened to slip into her very tight radius. So
my 1 mile radius from Island House.
I have friends that live in the Key and they also met in Tinder in Miami, and they're very happily married. They have a baby here now, but awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you guys got married how long ago?
We just celebrated our second anniversary 2 days ago. January
Congratulations.
5th. Thank you.
So now both of you guys have different professions. Let's start with Francine. What do you do here in the Key?
I am part owner with James of Code of Life, Pilates and bar studio in the Galleria. And I am a Pilates and bar teacher. I'm about to get my health coach certification. But in my prior life, I'm 35 now. Previously, I lived in LA for 3 years and I negotiated contracts on behalf of really big celebrities at a big talent agency in Beverly Hills. So, I moved there right after law school, that I did some soul searching in Spain, and now I own a Pilates and bar studio and teach.
And what about you, James? What do you do?
Well, I also am a lawyer by education. Right now, though, my primary profession is in real estate. I work at a brokerage that focuses on land lease communities and RV resorts. In my spare time, I, of course, help out a lot with the studio. For anyone who's a business owner, it's kind of all hands on deck. So I try to do my best to support Francine, who's really the star of the show there. I also have a small law practice that I maintain. I do a little bit of general corporate work and some real estate work, including real estate closings, both commercial and residential. I've helped out my employer and other associated entities on some commercial deals as far away as California. So that's just a fun little side gig I've got going on, because always got to have something to do with my time.
How did you get into the legal space?
Well, honestly, the first influence I would say is my father. He's been a lawyer my entire life. And he always seemed to enjoy his job. And then I would say I developed the interest because I was a big history buff, and that in one way led me to studying when I was younger the founding of our country, and one thing led to another, and that just kind of led me down the path of testing the waters of going to law school, and I enjoyed it enough to put in an application, spend 3 years there. I then clerked for 2 years and clerked for a federal appellate judge, and then practiced at a boutique litigation firm here in Miami for about 4 years before deciding that I did not want to fight with people for a living anymore.
Cool. All right. Going back to you, Francine. So you mentioned soul searching in Spain. How was that?
It was awesome. Originally, I wanted to do a year. So let me backtrack. At the moment I was deciding whether to do that or not, I was living in LA. I had been there for 3 years, and I was working, negotiating contracts from early in the morning to late at night, small print, everything behind a computer and a telephone. And I was helping other people achieve their dreams, and I was just doing the background work for them. And it came to a point where I wasn't getting where I wanted to go. And sometimes our failures are blessings. And I decided, okay, either I keep pushing here and knocking my head against a concrete wall, it seems, or I, try to figure out something else that I want to do. And I knew I wanted to eventually go back home, but I wasn't ready yet. So my mom called me and she said, your godparents' granddaughter is doing a gap year in Spain to practice Spanish. And they want someone that's older, more mature to go with her. So I was like, so they want me, right? And that's originally what the plan was, for me to go and be with her for her gap year. And then she decided to cut it short and go to school in Tampa 3 months after we first got there. So I had 3 months to be in Spain and travel. And I also took Spanish lessons, actually, because my plan was to come back to Miami and do exactly what I was doing in LA, which was negotiating TV contracts, and do it in Miami in Spanish for Latin clients, which I got offered a job to do that, but I didn't end up doing that. But yeah, that's why I was in Spain.
Cool. I mean, I've been to Spain twice in my life. One for work, and then with my mom. She took me once for a couple of days.
Where did you go?
Madrid.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, it was very nice.
Yeah, I was in Galice, so I was in the south of Spain, and it's just like very relaxed and calm, which is what I needed at the moment.
I think a lot of people would take a break going on a trip any day now, if they could. So, James, is your law practice in the Key?
I do work on the Key. I do work. Decent amount of the work that I do is with, I guess I should say, affiliated with my brokerage business. And so that office is based actually in Edgewater, up on Biscayne Boulevard. But yes, I do, if you've got a real estate closing on Keybiscayne, I can handle that. If you've got a little bit of corporate work, contract, something you want me to review, I can also do that, whether you're on Keybiscayne or some other part of Miami or some other part of the state. I'm actually barred in Florida and Illinois.
Sweet. Great. So if anyone's listening and have any real estate related needs, James is the person to go to. So Code of Life, co-owners of Code of Life, right? The name. I like the name. What was the inspiration behind the name?
Code of Life really encompasses that feeling of feeling balanced, centered, knowing what your code to finding that peace in your life is. Funny enough, that actually wasn't a name that I came up with, but I think I probably would have come up with something similar that meant something similar. The previous owner and founder of Code of Life came up with it, and I actually worked for her for 5 years. And many times she wanted to sell me the business, but I thought, no, I I'm probably going to go home to Georgia or Alabama anytime soon. I had not met James yet. And finally, the third time she offered, we were already planning on getting married. And so it was something that we both decided we would do. But yeah, Code of Life was her decision to name it that. But I completely agree. It's a place where you can walk in and you feel centered.
Walk me through the journey of a Code of Life visit, or let's start with your services. What can we expect?
We offer Pilates classes and bar classes. And the type of Pilates we teach in a group setting is not your classical Pilates. I always tell my clients, this is not your mama's Pilates. It's a contemporary athletic, like fitness Pilates. So when you walk into our doors, you're going to hear upbeat music. You're going to see 6 machines, all spaced 6 feet apart because of the pandemic. And we have a back room where we do private classes, and we also do classical Pilates in the private and semi-private setting. Our bar classes are called Power Sculpts, and they're also done to upbeat music, and it's a mix between ballet and Pilates.
So what is bar classes for someone that does not know?
Bar classes, the way that we do them are with the machine. You essentially, when you're standing, you hold on to the machine and you're balancing your body through engagement of your core and lengthening and tightening and toning your muscles in our studio to the beat of the music. And it has a lot of elements of ballet. It's a lot of going up on your toes, going down on your toes. So you get a lot of calf work and quad work. And there are a lot of planks, actually. We include a lot of planks, a lot of lunges, using the weights. We use TheraBands. We use the bands that are like the circle bands you can put on your knees or in your hands. It doesn't matter where. There's a lot of focus in bar as well as in Pilates on lengthening your spine, which I know you asked about bar, but going back to Pilates, many doctors recommend Pilates for people who are having spinal issues, because what happens when you're not working out or taking care of your body physically, a lot of times, especially these days when you're sitting at your chair at your computer all the time, or you're sitting on your phone for 3 hours at a time, is that we can lose strength in our spine. And a lot of the reason is because our cores are not being worked. Now, if you engage your core and work your core muscles, which is not just your abs, it's the obliques, it's the little stabilizer muscles around your spine. If you strengthen those core muscles, which we do in Pilates, they can help hold your spine longer, and then you have less back pain. So that's why a lot of doctors recommend Pilates for people who are having back issues.
A lot of your clients, or let's say what percentage of your clients do you think are there for like medical reasons?
I would say it's probably 50-50. We do have a lot of clients that walk in and say, my doctor told me I should do Pilates, but I want to still get the fitness element. I don't just want to focus on rehab because I've already done that. So that's why I came to you, because, we do focus on the alignment, the axial elongation of your spine and the core strength, but we also add a fitness element to it, where sometimes we have some cardio components in our classes that other Pilates studios don't have.
What's the best way to reach out?
The best way to reach out would be either via email at info@code-of-life.com or Instagram. I'm always on Instagram for marketing purposes, uploading stories or posts with our monthly promotions, which we do have monthly promotions. For example, this month it's bring a friend, get a class for free. So our Instagram is @code.of.life. And what's so cool about our Instagram is that if you've ever wanted to be a fly on the wall in our studio, you can be that fly on the wall on our Instagram, because we upload a lot of portions of our classes. So you can really kind of stalk us and see what it would be like to be in a class.
I could definitely vouch for that. I follow you guys both on my personal and on the Keybiscaynestories Instagram. So I definitely see a lot of the things you guys are doing. So fly on the wall indeed.
Yeah.
So you guys are doing this together, right? So like you mentioned at the beginning, Francine, you're more like in the front lines, and James, you're doing the other aspects of that is needed to run a business. Can
Really
you
exciting
share?
stuff.
I'm sorry.
The really exciting stuff.
The
What are
legal work
you?
that I don't want to do anymore.
What is that kind of work, James, that you're doing? That exciting stuff.
Oh, well, when I say exciting, I mean far from it. It can be anything from drafting up contracts, making sure we're in compliance with payroll taxes and regulatory issues. There is a fair amount of regulation for any business, but fitness studios are specifically regulated under Florida law.
You paying bills?
Paying bills,
It's important.
that's the least fun part. Um, Taking care of payroll, taking care of expenses, doing kind of the accounting or bookkeeping.
And
Oh,
he's the handyman.
Oh yeah, I do some
it's important.
repairs, I guess. I can turn a screwdriver.
Hey, hey, a lot of people can't say that. Can say that. So please, that's important.
Well, you both are flattering me so much by calling me a handyman. And
He does too. He's a jack of all trades. He basically does a little bit of everything.
I think we complement each other well.
Yes, I think so. I agree.
So, as a business, what kind of specials are you guys running, or what's that cycle look like?
Well, we always have a free intro class for new clients. So on Mondays at 4:30, we have a 30-minute demo class or intro class where if you're a new client, you can come and expect to learn about our company culture, our different types of classes that we offer, which are Pilates, hardcore, which is almost like a cardio Pilates, Power Sculpt, which is our bar, Powerhouse, which is a core-centered class just on the core, our virtual classes as well. So you learn about all that in the intro class. And then we actually put you on the machines. And so, if anybody wants to come, wear your workout clothes because we go through basic exercises that we do on a regular basis. And that special class is for new clients Mondays at 4:30. And then we have a few new client specials, an unlimited 10-day for $199. So that gets you your classes under $20, which is unheard of for a Pilates reformer class. For new clients, 10-day unlimited for $199. And we also do a new client special 5 classes for $190, which puts each class at I believe $38. And you have a certain expiration date for that, but you don't have to use those up in 10 days. You can use them kind of whenever within that expiration period. So for new clients, we really value, people who come and support the business. We want to give you the best at Code of Life, and we like to do so in a way that's best for you and for us. And then we have monthly specials, and of course, those change depending on the month.
Awesome.
For all clients.
You have them on your website?
We have them on our app. We have our own branded app. If you go to the App Store, you just search Code of Life. You'll see our logo, which is a round, a gold circle, and you just download it, make a profile, and you can see all of our monthly specials for all clients on there and new client specials. We also have an unlimited package, which is awesome because you can come every single day, potentially, depending on how much you decide to come yourself, for as low as $13, which is amazing and perfect in order, if you're a client that wants to commit and it's hard for you to commit to things, it incentivizes you to commit because it's monthly unlimited.
I think it's awesome that you guys have an app. Can you book classes on the app as well?
Everything. You can see the schedule live. As soon as we change the schedule on our side, you can see it on the app. You can see how many spaces have been taken already in the class. You can sign up for classes there. And actually, I hadn't mentioned this before, but we do offer healthy meal delivery, and you can sign up on the app for healthy meal delivery. It's really economical. We've partnered with a vegan chef who also cooks. If you want pescatarian, or if you want keto, or if you want meat, you can just ask him. It's very concierge. He was on the team at Plant Miami, which is a really reputable restaurant in Sacred Space. And he's partnered with us to cook everybody's meals from the farm to your house delivered. And you can order for monthly, weekly, just 1 meal, 2 meals a day, whatever. All that is found on our app. And lastly, we offer health coaching as well, all found on the app.
This is amazing. I had no idea about the app. I think the app is great. And I like that the first class, you have to bring your clothes because you guys are going to work out. So make sure you guys bring your clothes on your first class. So COVID-19, I know it's affected all of our lives, and we're reopening. I mean, Miami, I think, has done an interesting job when it comes to the closing and the openings and the curfews. How are you guys doing the COVID-19 response?
Well, I think the best way to talk about this is to go back to the beginning of the lockdown. Um, as we were watching the news and seeing this pandemic spreading into the United States, spreading into Florida, we realized that it was going to be a problem for us and was going to affect how we operated our business. And in fact, we shut down the studio before the county required us to do so because we were trying to take the pandemic as seriously as possible. That was also at a time that we expected any lockdown would be fairly short, a matter of weeks, maybe a couple of months at the most. But even before we shut down the studio, we got very serious about our cleaning practices. There were a few nights where, before we shut down, there were a few nights where I would go to the studio and hand clean the machines, all of the equipment meticulously at the end of each day to help ensure the uh, disease that COVID-19 was minimized, the risk of any spread was minimized in our studio. Um, we, while we were closed down, we looked back and realized that that was not going to be viable because that type of meticulous cleaning takes a lot of time. And between my full time job and all the other duties of running the studio, that time wise, it just was not going to be possible. So, luckily, in my primary full time job, I'll put it, in the brokerage business, I was actually picking the brains of some of my clients and how they were handling the COVID pandemic on their own properties. And one of the clients I spoke with told me that for the common areas in his property, he purchased a fogging machine. Different hardware manufacturers actually manufacture these machines. And typically, what they're used for is you can pour a solution of insecticide or pesticide or something in them and spray them in an outdoor area. And if it's an insecticide, you maybe if you have a mosquito problem, you spray it in an outdoor area before going out there so that the mosquitoes don't bother you. Well, what he had done was instead fill up that fogger with a cleaning solution that was an EPA list and approved cleaning solution, which is approved for killing coronavirus and COVID-19. So we followed his lead. We ordered a fogging machine, ordered the cleaning solution, and we've been using that to clean the studio nightly and help ensure again that the virus does not gain any kind of foothold in our studio, does not spread in our studio, and we're happy to say that we have not had any kind of issues or scares with COVID because of our meticulous cleaning, mm-hmm. which, thanks to the fogging machine, is not the daily multi-hour endeavor. It only takes about half an hour each night to do. So we're happy to say that our studio is incredibly clean and we are happy to keep it that way.
I would like to add that once any client, before they even walk into our door, we take their temperature. So we do temp checks. We give them hand sanitizer. Everybody has to take their shoes off before going into the studio. The machines are wiped down beyond the fogging before and after each class. We have gloves available if anybody feels uncomfortable touching the straps, which we machine wash and sanitize. What else do? We have 2 hospital grade air purifiers.
With HEPA air filters.
Yes, hospital grade UV. So they clean the air every 20 or 30 minutes. And we have a deep cleaning lady comes every week. I mean, we just go above and beyond in terms of cleaning. I'm a little bit of a clean freak myself, just in regular life, not to mention the virus. And we have had multiple clients tell us that the only reason they come to our studio is because they see us taking care of and cleaning the studio, and we're very transparent. So I'll even show on Instagram, like, here's the solution that we use, here's the hand sanitizer, here are the gloves, like if you need anything, let me know. And it makes our clientele feel very comfortable. So we're very proud of that.
When Francine mentioned or used the words above and beyond, it reminded me of some point last summer, I think it was, we investigated what the requirements would be if one of our teachers caught COVID, because I think like a restaurant or something had one of their waiters had caught it, and we heard that they had to shut the restaurant down or something like that.
So we wanted to figure out what to do. What would we have to do if that happened? And everything we do on a daily basis is already beyond what is required of a business if somebody in their business were to catch the virus. So
awesome.
I'm pretty proud
definitely nothing to worry about then for people that are interested. You guys are definitely COVID free from everything you're telling me. It feels cleaner than any other.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
And thank God he bought that vaporizer before when it first started, because all those things were sold out by the time that people, if you waited 2 months, you weren't able to buy a fogger. If you waited long enough, you weren't able to buy wipes. So thank God that we were on top of it as soon as possible.
Going back to the beginning, we were talking a little bit about your background on you guys and everything. Francine, how did you find? I know we took a break and you told me a little bit of how you found Key Biscayne, and I think it will be a great story for you to share with us. Would you mind?
No, I don't mind at all. It's actually a pretty funny story. I was working in Beverly Hills at my computer at the talent agency that I worked at. And normally we would get reels, which are about 3-minute videos that are meant to sell and pitch a TV show. And there was a reel that came across my desk, and it was called The Key. It was basically a docu-series like The Hills, same sort of music, same sort of following the same sort of young crowd about the key. And when I watched the reel, it was like young people on a boat dancing, and explaining the jobs of their parents on this affluent paradise island called the Key. And I thought, that's so weird. I've been going to Miami for my whole life because my parents have a place in Miami, and I've never heard about the Key.
It's a hidden gem.
It's a hidden gem. And so the next time I visited Miami, which was about twice a year back then, my sister was living in Brickell, and I rented a city bike, those clunky city bikes that you're not supposed to take more than a mile. And I went from Brickell all the way over all the bridges, all the way down to the end of the state park. And I was just like looking around at this paradise island, and my eyes could not eat the glory of the island fast enough. And I thought, wow, one day I'm going to live here. So I got a gnarly sunburn. I left the island, like such good feelings. And I flew back to LA to go back to my job. And fast forward 2 years later, I was living on the island, and I said, I'm only going to marry someone that lives on the island. So that's when I got on Tinder, and I put my radius only 1 mile away because I had to stay on the island.
Lucky for me, she kept the pool really small. Not a lot of competition.
It was like great. All the older people with kids, and then like James.
This is great. This is great. Yeah. This is great. So I know that we're running out of time, and I always like to ask my guests, what makes the Key special? What would that be for you guys?
Well, I think I can go through the list of things that most people would find special, but I guess I'll get more personal on it. My family has a pretty long history and connection to this island. My father grew up in Coral Gables, actually, but his father, my grandfather, was a business partner of the McCaughan family in helping to develop Key Biscayne when the homes, the McCaughan homes, were being developed over here in the 60s, I believe it was. And my father would actually spend his family summers on Key Biscayne at the Key Biscayne Hotel, which was also developed by the McCaughans. And eventually my grandparents, when they were almost empty nesters and my father was a senior in high school, they moved over to Key Biscayne. And from there, there has been a sort of flocking of McCaughans to Key Biscayne, to the point where now my parents still live on Key Biscayne. My grandparents passed away a few years ago, but they spent the remainder of their life on the Key. I have a number of cousins, my brother, an aunt, all who live on Key Biscayne, and just every inch of this island, just about, there's some memory for me. And it really is home. And, a lot of people don't want to, end up where they grew up. A lot of people do. I just happen to be blessed in that I grew up in an island tropical paradise. So who would not want to come back here and relive their memories and create more memories with a lovely life later on in life?
I was just going to say, one of the things that drew me to the Key is the awareness that people have of leading a healthy lifestyle. And clearly that's priority for me. It's always been priority even before I came to work at Code of Life and before we purchased the business. I loved when I visited that one time, I loved seeing everybody outside, everyone outdoors, active. And so I think that's a really special thing that you don't see in very many communities that Key Biscayne has. And of course, it's so special that we get to live on James's, grandfather's legacy in helping develop the island through serving through a business on the Key. I think it's so special to be able to serve our community in what they love, leading a healthy lifestyle through Code of Life on the Key.
Awesome. Thank you very much, guys, for taking the time and talking to us and sharing your story, your Key Biscayne story with us.
Thank you so much for having us.